The azure sky contrasts starkly against the sheet-white snow covering the vast expanse of ice. A pack of 10 furry, multicoloured dogs charges across the snow with all their might. Hjelmer an Inuit hunter, rides the sled and shouts a command, signalling the dogs to a halt. He then trudges through the snow with a rifle slung over his shoulder. His keen eyes spot today's target, not far ahead. The figure, in white camouflage, slowly approaches the plump, ringed seal emerging from an ice hole. If it looks up and sees or hears anything, his mission could fail instantly. So utmost caution is needed. Hjelmer tells us about the skill needed when hunting seals on ice. He says that when the seal raises its head through the ice hole, it can sense human presence. He persists in his hunt nonetheless. Carefully, advancing to a suitable shooting distance, but distant enough to avoid detection, Hjelmer lies down to blend into his surroundings, positions his rifle, aims, waiting for the perfect moment. When the time comes, he taps his feet together to make a sound, grabbing the seal's attention. In an instant, he pulls the trigger and the ringed seal falls limp. In no time, Hjelmer skillfully butchers the seal. The pelt is cleaned of blood and flesh, ready to be sold. The meat, stripped of fat, is preserved as rations and as food for the sled dogs. Before the hunting mission concludes for the day, Hjelmer and his younger hunting companion, Martin Madsen, enjoy a still warm piece of raw seal liver together. This is a reward for the hunter, a tradition passed down by their ancestors for generations. In the past, humans roamed and hunted for survival. With the discovery of agriculture, societies evolved rapidly, and hunting became a distant memory as a way of life for modern societies. But not for the Inuit here. Hunting is life, the heartbeat, the very breath of Ittoqqortoormiit, one of the most remote and isolated villages on the world's largest fjord, Subsistence, on Greenland's northeastern coast. Greenland, the northernmost land, lies between the Arctic and the Arctic Ocean. Though under Danish sovereignty with self-rule, it is geographically part of North America. Over 80% of this, the world's largest island, is covered by a 2-mile thick sheet of ice, with winter lasting for 9 to 10 months of the year. Such harsh and frigid conditions led the Inuit, an ancient civilization who migrated from Siberia and Alaska in the 13th century, to settle along the coasts, subsisting mainly on ice hunting and coastal fishing. Hunting has been the spirit of and the means of survival for the Inuit for centuries. As the world progressed, globalization brought modern conveniences, lifestyles, and capitalist economies to this land. Over the past 50 years, Greenland has changed from a hunting-based society. Most Inuit in Greenland now have regular jobs and earn salaries to buy daily necessities. Electricity, water, energy, internet, and public utilities are now available here. Subsistence fishing evolved into a booming fishing industry, becoming the country's main source of income. Valuable resources like oil and rare minerals under the ground have attracted international energy companies. These economic activities occur mainly on the island's western and southern coasts. Hunting no longer drives the nation's economy as it once did. For small villages, especially in the Arctic, where no crops grow, hunting remains one of the few ways for people to survive, feed themselves, and earn money by selling meat and animal hides. One such village is Ittoqqortoormiit. Beautiful but isolated, the colourful Scandinavian-style wooden houses and buildings brighten up the village during the short summer. Some of the melting ice turns into open sea, allowing container ships to deliver frozen food and essential supplies to the village's only convenience store, but only twice a year during the summer. As temperatures drop and winter sets in, the thick ice pack forming on the freezing sea is the signal for the hunting season to begin again. Sleds, pulled by Greenlandic huskies, and snow scooters take hunters along the ice trails. A .222 rifle for long-distance shooting, or sometimes a harpoon for older hunters, is all the hardware needed to hunt. In Ittoqqortoormiit, every man hunts. Ringed seals, bearded seals, walruses, narwhals, various birds, musk oxen and reindeer are common quarry. Only licensed professional Inuit hunters can legally hunt polar bears. Hjelmer and Madsen are two of the 10 professional hunters in Ittoqqortoormiit, depending entirely on hunting for their livelihoods. Hjelmer is a living legend, known as the finest polar bear hunter in Greenland. In 2024, he has so far bagged 7 polar bears. Over 50 winters, he has killed 317. Hjelmer's fame began in the 1980s, often hunting polar bears alone for weeks with his sled dogs and a tent, returning with 3 polar bears. It was a golden age for hunters. Polar bear pelts were in high demand and sold globally at exorbitant prices, significantly more valuable than other Arctic animal produce, like those from seals and whales. With the rapid decline in the polar bear population, though, the Greenland government limited the annual hunting quota in 2006 to prevent extinction. Each year, Inuit across Greenland can hunt around 155 polar bears, with different quotas per area. Hunting them is banned for 2 months, July and August, and it is illegal to hunt cubs or mother bears with cubs. This year, hunters in Ittoqqortoormiit can kill 35 polar bears. Ittoqqortoormiit is one of 2 remote areas allowed to hunt polar bears all year round. The quota was filled by late April, so for the remaining 8 months, they switched to seal hunting. Hjelmer says that nowadays they catch their quota of 35 bears by the end of April, and the rules regarding the number of bears they're allowed to hunt are strictly enforced. He recalls that when he first became a hunter, back then there were no quotas. Hunters could hunt whenever and whatever they wanted. All year round, they could hunt both polar bears and narwhals, for example.
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
Ice floes and fjordic glaciers sustain Arctic animals and the Inuit hunters. Over the past 40 years, however, global warming has been gradually threatening Greenland. The impact here is more evident than almost anywhere else. A study in Nature, the world's leading multidisciplinary science journal, reports that the Arctic's average temperature has risen by 3 degrees Celsius, 4 times faster than anywhere else on the planet. Ice floes now form more slowly in early winter and melt sooner in spring. In summer, areas where ice never melted, it now does, shortening the hunting season on the ice. Thinner ice also makes hunting more dangerous. Hamilton says that they can see that the climate has changed because the ice is thinner. He explains that in the past, they could go to the edge of the ice floe without fear. They could even set up a tent there and hang out without rushing or worrying about the ice breaking. In his opinion, life 40 years ago was more joyful. As the ice floes become unstable and less abundant, travel across them with dog sleds is not as predictable as it used to be. The sky is clear and the weather is fine. Madsen and the other hunters in Ittoqqortoormiit decide to venture out today. They set up at the edge of the ice floe, scanning for any signs of seal movement. Hunting seals in open water is more challenging than on the ice floes. There is no other method as efficient as using sleds to approach silently. But with less ice, if they don't sail out to hunt in open water and shoot the seals from afar when they come up for air, they have to lure the seals closer to the edge of the ice floe. Madsen uses a took, a long wooden pole with a sharp tip, to chip away at the ice using a circular motion. The hunters also whistle, mimicking the seal sounds to attract their attention. Martin Madsen, an Inuit hunter, says that on the edge of the ice floe he will shoot first if he spots a seal. If he misses, though, someone else can take their turn. When there aren't many seals, he attracts them with the sound of a took on the ice and water. Then he whistles to lure the seals closer. A bearded seal appears not far away. Madsen returns to his position, aims, and fires a single shot from over 200 meters away, completing the mission. The thickened freshwater layer above the saltwater, caused by melting glaciers, means that seals sink faster. So he must paddle his kayak quickly to retrieve the prey before it sinks out of reach. Madsen says that this bearded seal showed up and he got it. He paddled the boat to catch it before it sank, sweating as he hauls it back from nearly 200 meters offshore. Madsen grew up among hunters. He started learning to hunt as a child, with the ice as his school and guns, sleds and Arctic animals as his teachers. He chose the profession of hunting like his father and grandfather before him. Today, though, the income from hunting is not what it was for his father's or grandfather's generations. Melting ice floes reduce the polar bears' seal hunting grounds, leaving them hungry and the seals losing their habitats. Inuit hunters can sell polar bear skins for up to €2,000, but they can only sell them within the country, since the European Union banned their import in 2008. The demand is, as one might expect, not as high as it once was. Meanwhile, seal skins, which can be hunted without limit, can be exported for €40. But before the European Union lifted its import ban in 2015, sealskins could fetch twice that amount. This might be why the hunting way of life won't be passed down to Madsen's children. Madsen says he doesn't like the limitations on hunting. He tells us that everything in daily life has become expensive, and now there's not much left to hunt. Now that they can no longer hunt polar bears for the whole season, they have to survive by only hunting seals. Madsen hopes his son goes to school instead of becoming a hunter, because the salary is very low. When his son grows up, there may be even more quotas. Then again, there may not be much left to hunt either. Madsen thinks that in the not-too-distant future, they will only allow the hunting of 1 muskox and 10 polar bears. With changing weather and the diminishing abundance of the Arctic, hunting can still help the Inuit sustain their families. The meat in the brown soup that Charlotte Pike is cooking is from a polar bear that Madsen, her husband, shot and stored. Hunting alone is not enough, though, to provide for the family throughout the year. Charlotte explains that due to the lack of enough income from hunting, they've had to find an alternative, such as welcoming tourists. The melting ice in the fjords during the summer opens up new routes for cruise ships. The beautiful scenery and nature attract tourists who are willing to travel long distances to visit Ittoqqortoormiit. Some hunters become tour guides during the tourist season. The growing tourism sector presents new opportunities. As the ice melts, though, the future of the Inuit way of hunting becomes increasingly uncertain.